Hello everyone, today it's August 28th, 2021. I'm going to be doing a documentary of the city of Sheridan in conjunction with the video made by a gentleman done in 1991 to show what has changed and what has not. Here is our Sheridan Market. I don't have much information about it, but I can try and find another video. Here are some flags out on display to show the kind of times we're in at this moment. We see a lot of the Don't Tread on Me flags. We still see the United States flag, and we see a flag that says We the People 1776. Here is the Sheridan Baptist Church. This was not covered in the previous video from the gentleman that made it in 1991, but I figured I can get it in so that way it can be preserved. Here is the Good Shepherd Catholic Church. This was also not in the video that the gentleman made in 1991, but I figured I would preserve it so in future generations can compare what Sheridan looked like then and now. Here's another good view of the Good Shepherd Church. And as you see, there's a statue of Jesus right there. And to the left of me was where the Chevron fuel station was. So as you can see, if you look at the 1991 movie made by the gentleman that I watched, what we're looking at is the empty location of the former Chevron fuel station, which is right there. And what's left now, well, not what's left, but what is there now is the Yamhill County Transit bus stop. And now we have the Hurricane Coffee Shop. And to my left is the Sheridan Laundromat. Here's another angle of the old Chevrolet company. This was not covered in the other video, but I figured I'd get another angle to get a depth perception idea of depth. And down there is the old parish Catholic church. Here is a more close-up view of the Hauser Garage and Chevrolet dealership building, which is now privately owned and is mostly used for fabrication. Right now we're looking down East Main Street facing west. There's the Huntley building. Here's the Lorraine apartment building, which was started being built by Mr. Huntley back in 1938. And this was established in 1914. This is our laundromat. What I do know, back in 1953, this was built and was ran by Dairy Queen. And then in the late 1950s, Mr. Bozeman purchased the location out near Gopher Valley Road, which is right now the current location for current Dairy Queen. And right now it's run by a private laundromat. Here's another view of the Lorraine apartment building. It was constructed in 1938. In 1939, the Duck bowling pin was in that building right there. And there was a bus station here, and on the right here where the bulletin board, which also was the former Sheridan Sun, was the Stage Cafe that came in also in 1939. Now it's mostly the bulletin board, Crow's Cuts and More, Main Street Books, and on top are local apartments. And to the right of us is the Huntley building. Here's another view of the Lorraine apartment building from the west view. So right now we're looking at the Huntley building, which was not originally here when the fire happened. It was a from my understanding, was a wood building, and then this was constructed after the fire. From what I remember about the Huntley building was this is where the Sheridan Pizza Co. was, and it had really good pizza. And then Figaro's moved in, more in the center of town. It became more competition, and then the back of the building collapsed, and then they had to be relocated to where the building where the Sunshine Cafe used to be in. Here's a view looking towards the center of town, intersection of Main and Bridge. Here's another view of the Huntley building. You can see it is boarded up. Here's the view of the bridge. This is the bridge that was built after the Great Fire of Sheridan. You see here's the gas station on the right with TJ's in the background. And straight ahead, the telephone pole right there. In the other video the gentleman made in '91, there was not a phone booth, but it was a public telephone that was actually attached to the power pole. The kind you put a quarter in, or you can dial collect and be able to make a long distance phone call. So here is the Green Frog. If you look at history, it used to be a movie theater. The gentleman said in his 1991 film that he watched Gone with the Wind at that location. And here is the Sheridan Pharmacy, which he also said was the Tom Parsons drugstore. And it also had a Radio Shack inside. Definitely tells you where the times have gone. The awnings are gone. Down there is our Grand Sherman Food Bank, which in his video was an appliance store. And down there is the former building of the first City Hall, which I'll get in another segment. And here is our gas station, TJ's Superette, but it used to be a British Petroleum in his film, and he commented that it was a Shell station before. And there's our local TJ's market. I think he said it was called the Red and White store at that time. And down there is Stuck Electric. And to the left right here is the Laura Wall CPA PC building. And that just shows how it looks right here. Down there is the former Chevrolet dealership. And to the right is the Huntley building. And to the right over here is the river, and here is the Sheridan Bridge. We're now at the intersection of Main and Bridge. And here's the mural. You can see it's completely faded. In the other video the gentleman did, 91, it had a lot of green in it, like a really nice vibrant green, but it is completely faded. And then down there is the American Legion. And there's the bridge again. Then over is TJ's. So right now I'm standing on the Sheridan Bridge looking at the Yamhill River from an east view. And here is the river facing west. Back to the intersection of Main and Bridge. Here is where the former lodge was. It was here in the video 91, but then it collapsed in the inside earlier this year during the flood, which happens usually around winter season. So you could see there's the year of 2021 with the Spartan, which is the symbol of the Sheridan High School, the one I graduated from. Lived here for pretty much 30 years. And here is a view of South Bridge Street facing south. Here's another view of the foundation of the former lodge. And right there you see building that has classic cowboy barbecue on it that used to be, to me, the Sunshine Cafe. And then when Sheridan Pizza building collapsed on the back end, Sheridan Pizza moved in there, and then it went down ever since. This building in front is now the antique store, which is owned by my wife's relatives, but it used to be a Sears at one point. And then we have Country Bargains right there, the green building, but that used to be a True Value hardware store, from what I remember. And the building down there, straight ahead of the Sheridan Museum, was a bakery, and then there's a Subway and a Figaro's. And to the left is the Sheridan IGA. Here's another view of the Sheridan Bridge. Here's the far view of the Sheridan IGA, which also was a Sheridan Select from my history. Here's the Benny Huey's right there, which used to be a bowling alley. Here's a Country Bargain close-up. Here's the antique store, which was a Sears at one point. And down there used to be the Sunshine Cafe from my memory. So there's the Sheridan IGA. And down there used to be the Sheridan Post Office when I was here, but then it got rebuilt on the other side of this parking lot. Here's another view of the Benny Huey's and a building that's being remodeled. And then down there is the West Valley Realty Company. There's another view of Bridge Street. You see the antique store right there, which was a Sears. Country Bargains used to be a True Value store. You have the Sheridan Museum, which was the Sackett and Insurance Company building. The Sheridan Museum History building was the Sheridan Bakery. The Subway used to be owned by Jim's Trading Post. And the Figaro building, I believe, was privately owned, but it also was a bank, because there was a vault in there that's still there. And then down there is the US Bank. And now there's the Fitworks building, which was privately owned by another business a long time ago. This is the US Bank. The gentleman in the 1991 video mentioned it was a brand new building. Here's the current Fitworks building. Down there is the First Federal Savings and Loans. Down over there is the Center Market. And right here is the Figaro's Pizza store, the Subway, the Sheridan Museum, Country Bargains, and the antique store down there. Here's another view of the Benny Huey's right there in the red building. Here's the building that on top used to be owned by some private business firms and law firms back in the time. Straight ahead was the building, which was the Bridge Street Movies. Then over there was the coffee house, Bridge Street Coffee House. Then right straight ahead was the floral shop that I remembered. And down the left over there was the Physical Therapy LLC. Here's another view of the buildings that are in construction or remodel. Straight ahead is now used by Fitworks. But it also used to be home of the Sheridan Museum that I remembered. Then straight ahead is the West Valley Realty. It's always been there from what I remember. And then the Red Lizard, which wasn't always there from what I remembered in history. It was an automotive shop where you get to buy parts. And then there's the Terry's Tire Shop. And down there's Davidson's Auto Park. Here's a far view of the City Hall. There's the First Federal Savings and Loans Bank. And here is the building that's currently used by Fitworks. And there's the US Bank building with the Figaro's and the Pink building. Here's the Red Lizard, which was an automotive store. And there's Terry's Auto Clinics. Then down there is our new Sheridan Post Office. Here's a close-up view of the Sheridan City Hall. It was not in the previous video from the gentleman from 91. And down there is our fire station. Right now I'm standing next to the corner of Mill and South Bridge, close to the First Federal Savings and Loans. Here is a close-up view of the Sheridan City Hall. And there's a monument there that's dedicated to the Knisleys, relatives to my wife. And to the right is part of the First Federal Savings and Loans building. Here is the south view of the Sheridan City Hall, which used to be a replica of a train station. No, it is a replica of a train station. There's the Terry's Auto, Tire Services, there's Napa, which from my understanding was always a automotive store. And here's the Sheridan Building Materials building. And then down there is the Sheridan High School. This was not in the previous video of the gentleman that was in 1991. This is a new building. It's the building that houses the Wave Broadband and the Coldwell Banker building. And down there is the Mexican restaurant La Sierra, which also I remember was Asabachi's at the time. Here is the Sheridan High School. I graduated here in 2005. Not much difference besides the new gym that's down there on the south side of the building. And this is also new as a greenhouse, but remember from the gentleman's video, I used to have a private building on the side for the high school. The colors are gold and blue. When I graduated, it was gold and like a navy blue color, but now it looks like a gold and royal blue color. Here's another view of the Sheridan High School. Then down there's was the new gymnasium, and here is the Sheridan School building. Here's another view of the Sheridan High School. Here's a better view of the gymnasium with the Spartan on the front, home of the Spartans, but it is faded. And here's another view of the school district building, which also used to be where the Nazarene Church used to be. And then to the left is the Coldwell Banker building, Wave building, and the La Sierra Mexican restaurant. And now we're facing northbound on Southbridge Street. Here's another view of the Sheridan City Hall. And then down here is the Sheridan Fire Department. Here's the Sheridan Lodge, Oddfellows, and Ethel Rebecca Lodge. If my history serves me well, it was a Sheridan Creamery where you can go get some ice cream and milk. Here's the Center Market. Straight ahead, small building is the Monroe Event Center. And at the very end is the Sheridan Figaro's. Here's the west view of the U.S. Bank. We have a barber shop that's be opening soon. And straight ahead is the Hagen Hamilton building. Here is a view of our new post office. It's not new, but it was the building that replaced the old building on the other side of the parking lot. Here's our Dopey's car wash, self-serve. There's a part of Napa right there with the mural. And here is Terry's Tire Services, and the building down there straight ahead is the First Federal Savings and Loan. Here's the front view of the Sheridan Post Office. Here's a mural of the Napa Auto Parts. Shows a log truck with some scenery. There's the City Hall. Here's another view of the U.S. Bank, and here's a mural attached to it. Here is the TJ Superette and the mural. oxen, locomotive, steam engine, and the log truck. You can really see how faded it is. This is about 30 years later. Here is a far view of the TJ's store here. It was built back in 1948 by Mr. and Mrs. Oh, I forgot their name. But it was built back in 1948. And it was called the supermarket. Oh, the Madsons, Mr. and Mrs. Madsen. And down there is the Stucco Electric Company building. Here is the American Legion building. In the previous video from the Drama 91, this building didn't have any paintings on it. So now we have the American flag, the flag of the United States with the bald eagle. And down there is the Sheridan Pharmacy. And you can see with the mural down there. The gentleman did say that attached to this building in this parking lot used to be a place where people could roller skate and be taught how to roller skate. And the founder of that business or organization would take the kids up to Portland at the time to learn how to roller skate. And then to the right is the City Hall building, so it gives you a general idea of where we're at in this segment. Here is the Calvary West Chapel Church. I'm on the corner next to the American Legion building. Here is the original City Hall building, which was paid by the taxpayers $6,000 back in 1915, and it was established in 1916. This is the original City Hall building. You can see where we are in this location, still next to the American Legion. Here is the Sheridan Mennonite Church. This is not the original building. The original building caught fire by an arsonist who was very young at the time. The larceny was committed in the very back of the building, in the parking lot, and then the structure caught fire. So this is the brand new Sheridan Mennonite Church. Here is the Sheridan Public Library. Found out to my knowledge that the Sheridan Public Library had 3 homes. One of the homes was the City Hall, the original City Hall, and this building was constructed in 1973. Here is the Open Door Community Church. It is now currently on the property that used to have the Faulkner Elementary School that I used to go to when I was a kid, which was built in 1935. Currently it is owned by the Open Door Community Church. Here is where the front of the school would have been, where it had the steps right here, and it extended all the way to the left, and the whole building went all the way to the right. So yeah, it was built in 1935, the original Faulkner Elementary School. And the gentleman in the video that he did in 1991 said that while the kids were at the American Legion Hall building getting their education, while the Faulkner School was being built and was dedicated in 1935. And then after I graduated from here, from being in 3rd grade, shortly after, I think my 5th grade year, and I think that'd been 95 or so, the school burnt down because the boiler room blew up, and all that's left is the original foundation pillar for the gate that they would close off when school was in session. And as you can see, this is one of the pillars that's left of the Faulkner Elementary School when I was young. It had 3 sections that connected the gate, and it was purple and yellow underneath, and extended all the way to a pole right there that closed off when school was in session. And the other pillar is still down there, but this is where the original Faulkner Elementary School stood.